Turkey is one of the world's most popular holiday destinations, the most popular destinations according to the UN's WTO, which ranks it as number 6. And we're going to hear now from somebody that is one of the architects of this amazing success story. I am such a huge fan. I've been living here for 3 years. I've been all around. One of my favorite places I went to last month, Trabzon, absolutely beautiful, up in the east of Turkey, beautiful. Anyway, let's hear now from the Vice Minister of Tourism and Culture for the Republic of Turkey, Özgül, Özkan, Yavuz, and she will deliver her keynote speech entitled Tourism, the Only Way Forward for the Turkish Economy.
Dear participants, distinguished guests, I would like to congratulate the organization of the Global Tourism Forum and wish every success for the organization with a wonderful start this morning. Very nice to be with valuable speakers from all around the world. The modern world has been facing one of the deepest crises globally. Before I begin, I want to strongly emphasize that we can only overcome this crisis and become more resilient by solidarity, collaboration, cooperation, open communication, inclusiveness, and by being greener. I believe cooperation and sharing in such international platforms play an important role in recovery of world tourism. 2020 was a promising year for the world tourism in the beginning. Now, tourism's share in the economic development of the countries was increasingly constantly. Unfortunately, things have been developed differently, and according to UN World Tourism Organization, tourism is the third largest sector. It is a strategic sector affecting almost 50 different other sectors. So it is important to carry on such an industry responsibly. The world is face to face with a huge crisis. This pandemic may be considered as a good opportunity to rethink about the ways we deliver tourism activities and its impacts on our societies. We can focus on more ethical and sustainable tourism and the benefits of it. Tourism can be a leading sector for many countries. It encourages foreign investments, revitalizes the local economies. It may have good impacts on social life and help to protect cultural heritage. Tourism is related with many of 2030 UN Sustainable Development Goals. It is a useful tool for fighting against poverty. It can support sustainable agriculture implementations by including foods in value chain, and it can support especially women and young labor and education of human resource, and it can foster water sanity, clean energy. It is a very important economic sector globally. According to UNWTO, current tourism provides for 1 in every 11 jobs worldwide. Sustainable tourism promotes local culture and products. Goal 11 of SDGs states sustainable cities and communities. Tourism is a good tool for this purpose too. Cities good for their own communities are good for tourists as well. Goal 13 of SDGs is climate action, lowering the energy consumption and using clean energy. The tourism sector will contribute this purpose. Protecting biodiversity is another area that tourism can play an important role. Tourism mostly contributes to peace and stability, and by increasing intercultural understanding and sympathy. So this interval due to the pandemic is an opportunity to direct our efforts on more sustainable tourism with using renewable energy, implementing inclusive policies, increasing employment of disadvantaged people, promoting local economies and green investments, supporting innovation for the new products and services, adopting digital transformation, ensuring collaboration and coordination in the sector, and supporting local value chains and local employment so that to ensure more bright future for the next generations. Tourism management is now more than just destination marketing. Tourism is such an industry that its components constitute multi-layers and can be considered as the whole city or whole society sometimes. The destination's problems are identical with the problems of the tourism industry. If a destination is prosperous and wealthy, same as the tourism sector. Arts and design, technology, agriculture, biodiversity, wildlife, shopping, and of course culture, events, fashion, gastronomy, architecture, tangible and intangible cultural heritage, sports, hospitality are all relevant layers which will serve the happiness of societies and destinations, and all of them are integral parts of our tourism industry. Cooperation of arts, technology, and culture will create synergy in tourism. Nowadays, the responsibility of destination marketing organizations are broader than it was used to be. We need to be more holistic approach. Instead of just destination marketing, we should use place branding tools as well. As you all may know, there are more complex components than just branding in the place branding concept. Not just tourism product, travel agencies, hotels, and services. There are more layers to be told and more stakeholders are involved. With planning development, political, economic, and cultural perspectives are being talked about. The history, the urbanization, the culture, the economy, and the ecosystem of the place is taken into consideration. With a more holistic approach, we can position our destinations as a better places to live, not just artificial paradises for tourists. By this way, I'm certain that they will attract more and more tourists too. For recovery, we will use power of ecosystems, build up networks, ensure collaborations among different actors, public, academia, tourism industry. They should come together and create a task force. With that way, each one of us will be more resilient. In the meantime, as we redesign our policies, we can focus on training and systematic and regularly updated knowledge sharing. We can use this time to increase and upgrade our staff's skills and abilities, to think on reshaping our organizational structures. There are very useful digital tools for this purpose. This will help to survive. We should invest in quality jobs, green and digital transformation, public health, and our education systems. For our targets, research and intelligence is becoming even more important now. And also data sharing and open communication is vital in such days. We should continue to monitor the key markets. As you know, the habits and tendencies are changing quickly according to current events and trends. To ensure the trust is a must in this matter. We should run service and product development projects to deliver quality tourist experience. Contents for kids and families should be enhanced. More emphasis should be made on digital transformation. Our internet rates and capacities must be strengthened to catch today's demands. Remote working tools need to be reinforced. Digital marketing and communication capacities of the tourism industry should be increased. More digital advertising on tremendous medium. B2B platforms. Virtual fairs are becoming more and more conventional now. Digital booking services are improved and become widespread. So we need to invest on digital infrastructure and human resources on the area. Community engagement at all works is a must. Public and private sectors should work with the community in all levels. UNWTO Global Codes of Ethics for Tourism is good lodestar for all of us in this journey. Each one article of this guideline should be studied thoroughly by all stakeholders of tourism industry. Sustainability will provide competitive advantage to our businesses in the future. And protecting the environment, using renewable energy sources, respecting nature, cultural texture, contribution to local economies, qualified staff, content of visitors and workers, fair prices, awareness of cultural heritage, caring of next generations, regarding disadvantaged people, and so on. These are all subjects of sustainability, and only by this way we can boost competitiveness and build our resilience. It is obvious that a strategical and holistic approach is necessary to transform our business with sustainable ones. City planning is another important subject that needs analytical and sustainable point of view. Smart buildings, renewable energy consumption will make our destinations and cities more competitive. We should more and more think about low population zones and carbon neutral cities. Ongoing COVID-19 pandemic reminded us two facts. Globally, we are not ready for such crisis. We have a crisis management problem, I think. And secondly, such crises are very likely to occur in the future as well, and our economies are very fragile at them. And also, we are interdependent globally. We should understand that. According to IMF, as a consequence of this pandemic, the global economy would shrink by 4.4% in 2020. We are all aware that tourism is the most fragile against this kind of crisis. According to UNWTO, international tourist arrivals declined 70% until now over the same period compared to last year. There is a loss of 730 billion US dollar in export revenues from international tourism, which is much more than in 2009 global economic crisis. The virus-related cases are accelerating in the cold season in many countries which are closed, and it seems the virus will continue to be effective next year as well. And we should expect such pandemics in the years ahead to go. So what will be our solution? People will not give up traveling. We would be patient and optimistic. And I'm very confident that shortly after we prevent the spread of the virus, we will return to pre-pandemic levels, which is 2019 levels, and even beyond quickly. My guess is by mid-2021. To take the necessary actions while opening the tourism is a responsibility for all of us. How can we build up the trust again? With integrity, transparency, precautions, and coordination, of course. And I think the safety and hygiene protocols will be mostly permanent from now on. To raise awareness of public on the necessity of the measures to prevent the virus is a crucial part to sustain our business in every economic sector. To contain the virus is a priority and also the responsibility for every country. People expect to have information about the measures to be taken in advance. This is so important to be able to make plans and the freedom of movement. Of course, nobody has certain knowledge on the virus's progression, but with the correct data sharing, we can manage the process and provide more clarity to people and industry, so that we can assure and restore and restart the tourist confidence. It is time for open communication more than promotion. It is time to give accurate information about the relevant matters. Recovery of the international tourism depends on virus containment and lifting up the travel restrictions accordingly. After that, we should increase the confidence of the tourists. The virus affected overall economic environment. The purchasing power of the people have been lowering, and the competition between the tourism destinations will be high next year. But I think we should remember we are on the same boat. Most of the countries began to give priority to domestic tourism after pandemic. That was kind of life for tourism sector. Turkey, like many other countries, has taken economic measures and support packages with the beginning of this pandemic. Since March 18, our government declared 15.5 billion US dollar economic relief package to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 health crisis. The package included tax cuts, debt payment delays, and regulations to encourage employers to allow remote working. The package also involved direct measures for tourism industry, including airline companies, tour operators, accommodations, and food and beverage sectors. To cope with the consequences of COVID-19 and normalization of tourism, our ministry introduced Safe Tourism Certification Program, which is one of the first of its kind in the world. This program was prepared with the contributions of Ministry of Health, Ministry of International Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and in a strong cooperation with all stakeholders in the industry. Safe Tourism Certification Program consists of safety of passengers, health and safety of employees, measures and facilities at the facilities, and measures in transportation vehicles. As of June 1st, 2020, we began to announce the facilities participating in our certification program through our website. We share this information with international tour operators as well. Our Safe Tourism Certification logo is on visible areas inside the verified facilities. There are QR codes on all logos, and through these QR codes, all guests and customers will have access to facilities inspection data. This way, the whole process gained transparency. Every facility inscribed has been inspected by the accredited firms and industry 4 times in a month. Safe Tourism Certification Program is a mandatory for accommodation facilities having 30 and more rooms. And as of January 2021, it will be mandatory for everyone. Over 6,000 facilities and vehicles have received certificates since the announcing of our Safe Tourism Certification Program. Since the beginning of the pandemic, as the ministry, we have issued 11 directives for all segments in the tourism industry concerning the normalization process. We constituted the Tourist Protection and Support Insurance System. The policy pays the medical expenses of the patients who are treated in the hospital with a confirmed COVID-19 diagnosis. If the patient is hospitalized in one of the in-network providers, the payments made by our Turkish insurance authorization system. Another insurance is COVID-19 additional hotel stay coverage. Under this policy, if the tourist has to stay in a hotel for medical surveillance for an extended duration due to COVID-19, the person is compensated according to the package chosen. our strong healthcare infrastructure, with 1,528 world-class hospitals operating in our country. 645 dedicated hospitals is one of our strengths in this struggle against the pandemic. Our daily PCR test capacity is 150,000 now. During the normalization process, we have been using the whole of government and whole of society approach. We take into consideration the recommendations of our scientific committee and World Health Organization's global guidance. To enable our citizens to live their lives in the best possible way under pandemic conditions, we designed controlled social life. We continue to wear masks to keep physical distance in public spaces. We have a very detailed preventing measures protocol for our guests. With the reopening of borders gradually, mostly in summer seasons, Turkey has been visited by 14 million international tourists until now. As you know, Turkey has been the sixth most visited country in the world. And in 2019, we hosted 52 million international visitors. Our tourism revenue was $30 billion in 2019, and this year, I think by the end of the year, it will be around $11 billion. We launched 3 films in the meantime: Re-Turkey, Together Today, and Safe Tourism Turkey. Traveling, social and cultural life, these are all important for life. The needs will bring their solutions as well. Culture industries have an important place in the economy and tourism. For a long time, our ministry, with a strategic approach, has been working on intellectual property and copyright legislation, supporting the culture sector, creating new attractions, and facilitation coordination. With the controlled normalization process, we reopened our theater and cinema salons on July with some measures. After the physical buildings of libraries, museums, fairs, festivals, and culture centers reopened, rules were stricter than before. Among them, limiting the simultaneous number and concentration of users, social distancing, introducing hygiene staff and users could be specified. Seats were parted, there were longer intervals between the scenes, air conditioning were qualified, and everybody was wearing masks, of course. Outdoor venues too operated for arts and cultural activities in the summer, again with masks and social distancing naturally. With the winter, the rate of spreading the virus began to accelerate. Therefore, regulations and restrictions are updated. But we are on the watch of vaccine news and we are very hopeful. These days will pass soon. In the meantime, we released support packages for our private theaters to mitigate the impacts of pandemic on them. To support arts, and we regulated our support scheme for the arts organizations and theaters. And the economic support packages with our government announced includes artists, employers, and employees of the culture industry. Thanks to online and digital platforms, access to culture through our virtual museums, galleries, and libraries has also been possible. We keep engaging with the public these difficult times. Our artists film themselves at home performing and offering live classes on social media. Our museums opened their content via virtual tours. However, although digital platforms are important mediums for dissemination culture and keeping the artistic life active, we should prepare our physical environment too for safe future performances. These are new opportunities for sure. Online viewing, hybrid events, live performances, live recordings of the performances have boomed with the pandemic. And we are very obliged to build sufficient ultrastructure capacity to ensure good quality streaming. These are my remarks on the subject. Thank you all for listening, and that was wonderful to be together with you. Hopefully next year we will be all together physically. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Hopefully next year, as the Vice Minister said, we will be all together physically. And that was a fantastic speech there by Turkey's Vice Minister of Tourism and Culture, Özgül, Özkan, Yavuz, speaking to us from Ankara, the capital.